There are moments in life, seasons that feel quiet, even heavy, when the space between you and someone important in your life seems to stretch out into a vast, unexpected silence. Perhaps it's a friend you haven't heard from in a while, a family member with whom communication has dwindled, or a romantic relationship where the easy flow of conversation has slowed to a trickle, leaving you with unanswered questions and a quiet ache in your heart. It can feel confusing, unsettling, and sometimes it simply hurts. You might find yourself wondering why things have gone quiet, what the distance means, or if something is fundamentally broken. It's easy for the mind to jump to conclusions, for worry and fear to fill the void where words used to be. You might replay past conversations, analyze recent interactions, or speculate endlessly about the reasons for the quiet. This can be a challenging season, one that tests your comfort zone and pushes you into unfamiliar territory. But what if this silence, this quiet distance, isn't a sign of abandonment or impending breakdown? What if, instead, it is part of a deeper, more profound work that God is doing? What if God allows this silence in relationships not to separate you from someone you care about, but to quietly and purposefully strengthen the bond in ways you might not even be able to see right now? It's a difficult concept to grasp when you're in the midst of it, when the quiet feels loud in your own heart. Yet, the scriptures show us that God often works most powerfully in seasons of stillness, in the wilderness, in the quiet before the dawn. He uses these moments not to break us or our connections, but to build something more resilient, more authentic, and more deeply rooted in Him. Instead of rushing to fill the quiet with noise, with worry, with demands for attention, with frantic attempts to bridge the gap immediately, we are invited, in faith, to see this silence as part of God's deliberate shaping work. He is using these still moments, these periods of quiet, to accomplish several things within you, within the other person, and within the relationship itself. He uses this time to deepen trust, to build patience, to foster genuine emotional maturity, and to guide both hearts towards a richer understanding and a more profound capacity for love. While it might feel uncomfortable, perhaps even painful, remember that God is sovereign, and He knows exactly how to use silence to strip away distractions, sharpen your spiritual focus, and prepare both individuals and the connection between them for something stronger, more meaningful, and ultimately, more honoring to Him. You are not being forgotten in this season of quiet. You are not being abandoned. God is actively working, stretching your faith, and teaching you how to love in a way that is not dependent on a constant stream of words, reassurance, or external proof. As you navigate this silent season, you are being given an invitation to trust that God's hand is holding this bond, this relationship, together, even when you cannot see every piece falling into place according to your timeline or expectations. Let's explore some of the profound purposes God might have in allowing silence in your important relationships. One of the primary ways God uses silence is to teach us patience in the waiting. The Apostle Paul writes in Romans 12:12, rejoicing in hope, patient in tribulation, continuing steadfastly in prayer. We often hear this verse in the context of major life trials, but it also applies to the quiet, simmering tribulation of relational silence. You might not recognize it right away, but this season is shaping your patience in ways that perhaps nothing else could. Think about it. When everything is easy and communication flows freely, patience isn't truly tested. It's in the waiting, in the unanswered questions, in the unreturned messages, in the uncertainty of what comes next, that our capacity for patience is stretched and refined. This season is forcing you, in a gentle yet firm way, to learn how to sit with discomfort without falling apart. Instead of letting the silence crumble your composure or send you into a spiral of anxiety, you are beginning to learn how to let it strengthen your ability to wait, not with resentment or bitterness, but with a quiet resilience. Imagine you're waiting for a reply to a deeply personal message. Every hour that passes without a response can feel like a small eternity. Your mind might race, conjuring up worst-case scenarios. This is the fertile ground where impatience thrives. But God is using this exact space to invite you into a different posture. He's showing you that not everything needs to be fixed, resolved, or responded to right this moment. There is value in the pause, in the space between the asking and the receiving. You are beginning to understand that the biblical patience is far more than just sitting still and doing nothing. It is about actively trusting while staying grounded and faithful, even when the outcome is unknown and feels entirely out of your control. This season is helping you stretch beyond the immediate, reactive urge towards impatience and guiding you into a deeper, more mature trust in God's process and timing. It's teaching you to surrender your need for immediate resolution. God is also using this time to teach you how to pray with persistence instead of giving up when things feel distant or silent. When you don't know what to say or do, you can always turn to prayer. Consistent prayer in the face of relational silence keeps you connected to God, grounding you even when your emotions feel scattered, heavy, or vulnerable. Through this, you are growing into someone who knows how to wait with grace and strength, trusting God's unseen hand, even when you cannot perceive it working in the human interaction. This kind of patience is a profound spiritual discipline, one that will serve you not only in this relationship, but in every area of life. It is precious fruit of the Spirit cultivated in the quiet soil of waiting. Secondly, ask God strengthens your trust without the need for constant reassurance. Psalm 37:5 says, "Commit your way to the Lord, trust in Him, and He will do this." When faced with silence in a relationship, it's natural to feel insecure. You might wonder if the relationship is slipping away, if you did something wrong, or if you even matter to the other person anymore. In the absence of words or contact, these doubts can grow loud, but God is specifically using this silence to show you how to cultivate trust that isn't dependent on daily confirmation or constant external validation. He is teaching you to let go of the exhausting urge to chase after constant reassurance and instead to lean into a quiet, inner confidence anchored in Him. Your trust is being shifted. It is no longer primarily tied to the daily words, actions, or presence of another human being, but rather to a deeper knowing, a faith-filled conviction that God is fully aware of this situation and is actively holding it together for His purposes. You are discovering that true, resilient faith doesn't always come with a steady stream of comforting signs or predictable outcomes. Sometimes, the greatest strength and deepest growth in faith occur precisely when you choose to trust even when everything feels still, uncertain, or unsettling. By learning to stand firm in faith during a season of silence, you are building a trust that is securely anchored in God Himself, rather than in the unpredictable ups and downs of human relationships, no matter how important they are. This season is fostering resilience by teaching you how to rest in God's unchanging promises and character, rather than frantically searching for constant signs or affirmation from people. You are realizing, perhaps more deeply than ever before, that God is the truly steady foundation you need. His timing is perfect, and He will bring about what He intends in due course. As you commit your way, your relationship worries, your fears, and your hopes to Him, You are growing into someone who trusts deeply, even when no one else is speaking into your situation or offering the comfort you crave. This trust is not passive. It is an active choice to believe in God's goodness and sovereignty even in the void. Thirdly, a God uses silence to build emotional maturity in you both. James 1:4 tells us, "But let patience have its perfect work, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking nothing." The patience developed in silence directly contributes to emotional maturity. When you're used to immediate responses, constant connection, and frequent conversations, any gap can feel like a crisis. An emotionally immature response might be panic, accusation, demanding attention, or shutting down completely. But as you face this quiet stretch, you are beginning to recognize that God is using it as a classroom for emotional growth. You are learning not to react instantly to every gap in communication with panic, frustration, or manufactured drama. Instead, you are being trained to steady yourself, to breathe through the silence, to process your feelings with God, and to choose to respond with thoughtfulness and wisdom, rather than being swept away by emotional outbursts. You are becoming more acutely aware of your own emotional landscape and learning how to navigate it in a healthy, grounded way. God is using this time to teach you how to manage disappointment, fear, loneliness, and uncertainty with maturity, rather than resorting to blame, manipulation, or exaggerated reactions. This emotional growth is absolutely vital and is actively preparing you for a stronger, healthier bond in the future. Why? Because you are learning how to carry your own emotions with responsibility and wisdom, rather than placing that burden entirely on the other person or expecting them to regulate your feelings through constant interaction. Crucially, God is also working in the other person's heart during this silent season. He is shaping them too, perhaps teaching them lessons about communication, presence, or healthy boundaries. He is preparing them to handle challenges within the relationship with greater grace and understanding. You are both, independently yet simultaneously, being prepared for a deeper connection that is not dictated or ruled by quick, fleeting feelings, but is guided by calm, steady commitment and mature understanding. This season may feel difficult, perhaps even isolating, but it is actively shaping you both into people who are more ready for a lasting, mature, and God-honoring love that can withstand the pressures of life. It's a process of refinement, chipping away at the rough edges of immaturity. Fourth, God deepens the meaning of your conversations when they eventually return. Proverbs 16:24 offers a beautiful image. Pleasant words are like a honeycomb, sweetness to the soul and health to the bones. You might not have anticipated this, but the silence is creating a fertile ground for richer, more significant conversations when you do finally connect again. God is intentionally allowing this space between you so that when words are finally exchanged, they will carry more weight, more intention, and a deeper sweetness. Think about the times you've missed someone dearly. When you finally speak, the conversation often feels more cherished, the words more carefully chosen, and the connection more palpable. You are learning a valuable lesson. Meaningful conversations are often born out of seasons of waiting, quiet reflection, and intentional absence. In this time apart, you are gaining perspective. You are discovering things about yourself, about the other person, and about the relationship dynamics that will help shape the nature and depth of your future talks. The silence provides an opportunity for introspection. You begin to recognize what truly matters, what you genuinely miss, and what you genuinely want to express when the time is right. This isn't just about catching up. It's about being more present and intentional when you are finally together. whether in person or on the phone. God is using this space to help you value each word spoken and received more deeply. You are learning that conversations, when filled with thought, care, and genuine presence, can bring healing, restoration, and profound connection. When you finally come together and speak again, you will likely feel the difference. The words won't be rushed, superficial, or careless. Instead, they can be intentional, nourishing, and life-giving. God is preparing your heart to offer kindness, truth spoken in love, and genuine understanding that brings health and vitality to your bond, ultimately making your relationship stronger and more meaningful than it might have been without this season of quiet preparation. The silence itself becomes a crucible for valuing connection. Fifth, God clears out distractions to help you focus on what's truly important. Colossians 3:2 instructs us, "Set your minds on things above, not on earthly things." In our hyper-connected world, relationships can easily become filled with noise, constant texts, social media interactions, the pressure to always be on and available. This can create a lot of superficial activity that distracts from the deeper currents flowing beneath the surface. You may notice that the silence in your relationship is stripping away this noise and busyness, intentionally or unintentionally. God is using this time to help you see past the superficial clutter and focus on what genuinely matters. He's clearing away the small frustrations, the shallow concerns, and the constant external validation that might have been masking deeper issues or preventing true spiritual focus. As you are less consumed by the immediate dynamics of the relationship, you have more space and mental energy to focus your heart on God Himself. You are learning to keep your spiritual priorities straight and to value what has eternal meaning, rather than getting caught up in temporary or fleeting earthly concerns. Without the constant communication providing external input or distraction, you have the necessary space to reflect on whether your focus in life, and even within the relationship, has been on things that truly matter in God's kingdom. You begin to realize how easy it was to let distractions, whether from the relationship itself or from the absence of it, take over your heart and mind, pulling you away from what is most important: your walk with God, your personal growth, and your eternal perspective. This silent season is a divine recalibration, helping you bring your attention back to God's ultimate purpose for your life and for your bond with this person. God is gently guiding you to lift your eyes above temporary worries, anxieties, and the discomfort of silence, and to place your focus firmly on the things above, on His truth, His character, and His unfolding plan. You are learning to set your mind on higher things, trusting that God is using this time to align your heart and your focus with His priorities. This renewed spiritual focus will inevitably strengthen your relationship in ways that earthly distractions never could, grounding it in something far more solid than human interaction alone. Sixth, God shows you how to love without requiring constant proof or affirmation. 1 Corinthians 13 provides the definitive description of love. Parts of it read, "Love suffers long and is kind. Love does not envy. Love does not parade itself, is not puffed up, does not seek its own, is not provoked, thinks no evil, does not rejoice in iniquity, but rejoices in the truth, bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things." This season of quiet is a profound training ground in this higher, more selfless form of love. You are learning that real, biblical love, agape love, is not fundamentally about constant attention, daily affirmations, or receiving what you feel you need. It is, at its core, about quiet commitment, steady kindness, patient understanding, and enduring hope. God is helping you see that true love is more about what you are willing to give your patience, your prayers, your understanding, your steady presence in spirit, than it is about what you are constantly getting or receiving back. You are starting to recognize that love can remain steady, faithful, and strong even when it is not constantly seen, heard, or validated by the other person. Instead of anxiously chasing after signs, proof of affection, or reassurance, you are learning to hold space for the relationship in your heart with quiet strength, trusting in God's work and timing. God is showing you through this experience that biblical love is patient and humble. It is not boastful, demanding, or easily provoked by absence or silence. As you actively practice this kind of selfless, enduring love, a love that bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things, you will feel yourself growing in grace, spiritual maturity, and inner peace. You are learning to love in a way that more closely mirrors God's unconditional love for us, a love that is offered generously and remains steadfast even when there is no immediate reward, recognition, or reciprocal action. This is the kind of love that builds resilience, fosters depth, and ultimately strengthens bonds over the long term, weathering the inevitable storms and quiet seasons of life. Seventh, God tests the strength of the connection itself. 1 Peter 107 speaks of faith being tested, that the genuineness of your faith, being much more precious than gold that perishes, though it is tested by fire, may be found to praise, honor, and glory at the revelation of Jesus Christ. Just as our individual faith is tested and refined, so too can our relationships be tested by various circumstances, including silence and distance. In this season of quiet, you may feel acutely that your bond is being challenged, perhaps even strained. And according to God's purposes, that is exactly what He is allowing to happen. He is using this quiet time, this period of reduced external contact, to reveal the true substance of the connection. Is it built purely on convenience, shared activities, or constant communication? Or is there a deeper foundation of genuine commitment, mutual respect, and an underlying love that can endure periods of separation or quietness? You are learning to see and appreciate the deeper strength of your bond, if it exists, even when it is not constantly being reinforced by words or presence. This season is stretching your faith specifically in the context of this relationship, showing you whether you are willing to hold on, to trust, and to remain committed even when things are hard, quiet, or uncertain. God is using this silence as a refining fire for the relationship. It is burning away the shallow, superficial elements that might have propped up the connection before, revealing what is truly valuable and lasting. You are discovering that the strongest bonds, like genuine faith, are those that can withstand the heat of testing, whether it's silence, distance, conflict, or other trials, and still emerge stronger, purer, and more resilient. As you walk through this test, trusting God through it, you are gaining a new appreciation for perseverance, loyalty, and the enduring power of a connection rooted in something deeper than circumstance. You are learning that love and connection are not just about the easy, comfortable days, but about standing firm and holding space for one another through the trials and quiet seasons. God is preparing you both, individually and together, to emerge from this season stronger, more genuine in your commitment, and ready to bring Him honor through the way your relationship reflects His steadfast love. Finally, of God sharpens your listening heart. Jesus says in John 10:27, "My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me." In the quiet space created by relational silence, God is actively training you to hear His voice more clearly. Without the constant noise of frequent conversations, The pressure of managing interpersonal dynamics, or the distraction of outside opinions about the relationship, you have more mental and spiritual bandwidth to tune in to what the Holy Spirit is saying to you. You are discovering that God often speaks in a gentle whisper, a quiet knowing, a subtle prompting, and silence is often the necessary prerequisite for discerning His voice amidst the clamor of the world and our own thoughts. You may have previously relied heavily on the voices of others, on external validation, or on the constant flow of communication to feel secure or guided. But now, in the quiet, you are learning to trust the gentle pull of God's guidance within your own spirit. You are realizing that God's voice is personal, clear, and consistent when you intentionally create the space and stillness to listen for it. This time of relational quietness is acting as a spiritual discipline, sharpening your spiritual ears and making you more acutely aware of God's constant presence, His wisdom, and His specific direction for your life. As you learn to listen for and follow God's leading during this time, you will feel yourself becoming more confident, more centered, and more steady, even when human voices are silent or unclear. Your security and direction become rooted in your relationship with God, which is unshakable, rather than in the fluctuating nature of human interactions. You are growing into someone who knows how to move with God's wisdom and guidance, rather than being tossed about by emotional reactions, fears, or the opinions of others. This sharpened listening heart, this ability to discern God's voice clearly, will bless not only your understanding and navigation of this specific relationship, but every single area of your life, leading you into deeper peace and alignment with His will. So, if you are currently navigating a season of silence in an important relationship, take heart. It is not necessarily a sign of failure or an ending. It is a powerful, purposeful tool in God's hands. He is using this quiet time to build in you patience, deepen your trust in Him, cultivate emotional maturity, prepare you for richer future connections, clear away distractions, teach you to love unconditionally, test the strength of your bond, and sharpen your ability to hear His voice. Embrace this season, difficult as it may be, with faith. Trust the process, trust God's hand, and know that He is working all things, even the quiet things, together for your good and for His glory. He is building something beautiful and strong in the stillness. If exploring these purposes of God's silence has resonated with you or offered you a flicker of hope and understanding today, please consider liking this video. It helps spread this message to others who might be navigating similar challenging seasons. I would also love to hear from you. Have you experienced a season of silence in a relationship where you felt God was working in ways you didn't understand at the time? Or perhaps there is a specific Bible verse that has been a source of comfort and strength for you during a period of waiting or quiet. Share your thoughts, experiences, or that verse in the comments below. Your perspective could be exactly what someone else needs to read today. And if you desire to receive more messages that lift your heart, strengthen your faith, and offer spiritual perspective on life's challenges, please subscribe to Pure Inspirational. By subscribing, you become part of a community where we remind each other that God is always at work, even in the quiet, confusing seasons, shaping us and our relationships according to His perfect plan. Thank you for being here and for allowing us to share this message with you.